All right, we're going to take a deep dive into a shape you see literally everywhere, but probably don't even think twice about, the humble rectangle. We're going to unpack its hidden geometry and find out there's a whole lot more going on than just four simple sides. I mean, seriously, think about it. Your phone, your TV screen, the door to your room, they're all rectangles. But what are the strict, non-negotiable rules that actually define it? What's the geometric blueprint that makes a rectangle and not just some other random four-sided shape? So to guide us on this little journey, we've got this fantastic chart. It lays out all the core properties of a rectangle in both English and Arabic, giving us a really clear, structured path to follow. Let's jump in. Okay, first things first. We've got to start with its official mathematical identity. What, at its absolute core, is a rectangle? You know, what's so elegant about this definition is how efficient it is. It doesn't have to say a shape with four sides and four right angles. Nope, it just says it's a parallelogram with one right angle. And that's because with a parallelogram, if you lock in just one 90-degree corner, all the others have to follow. It's an incredibly powerful place to start. So from that one core definition, we get all the other properties we're more familiar with. Let's look at the most obvious building blocks of any rectangle: its sides and its angles. The first big rule is that opposite sides are congruent, which is really just a fancy way of saying they're exactly equal. So the length of the top side of any rectangle will always, and I mean always, be a perfect mirror of the bottom side. And you guessed it, the same rule applies to the other pair. The left side is always a perfect match for the right side. This is what gives the rectangle that balanced, parallel structure we're so used to seeing. Now for the corners. Every single one of them is defined by one single perfect number. Just like that core definition promised, all four angles are perfect right angles. Every single one measures exactly 90 degrees. This is what makes the rectangle so stable and predictable. It's the whole reason books stack so neatly and why the walls in your house stand up straight. No slants, no exceptions. Okay, so we've covered the outside. Now let's explore the hidden geometry inside the rectangle by looking at its diagonals. This is where things start to get really interesting. So if you were to draw a straight line connecting opposite corners, and then do the exact same thing for the other pair, what happens? What kind of rules do these new lines, these diagonals, have to follow? Well, our chart gives us the answer right here. These diagonals have two really crucial properties. First, they are always the exact same length as each other. And second, they bisect each other. So what does bisect actually mean? It just means they cross at their exact midpoint, cutting each other into two perfectly equal halves. This means the distance from any corner to the very center of the rectangle is exactly the same. And this is just a beautiful illustration of the rectangle's perfect symmetry. It's the reason a well-made picture frame is guaranteed not to be crooked. Knowing these properties is great, but how do we actually use them? Let's get practical for a minute and talk about how to measure this shape. So there are two key measurements we care about. The area is all the space inside the shape. You can think of it as how much carpet you'd need for a room. The perimeter, on the other hand, is the total distance around the edge, like if you were to put a fence around it. To see how this works, let's use a super simple example. Imagine we have a rectangle that's 10 units long and 5 units wide. How would we figure out its area and perimeter? To get the area, we just multiply the length by the width. So 10 times 5 gives us 50 square units. That's it. That's the total surface this rectangle covers. Simple as that. Now for the perimeter. We add the length and the width together. That's 10 plus 5, which is 15. Then we just multiply that by 2, which gives us a total perimeter of 30 units. That's the distance you'd walk if you went all the way around the edge. All right, we've covered the definition, the sides, angles, diagonals, and the measurements. Let's put it all together in one final blueprint. And there it is, all at a glance. Opposite sides are equal, all angles are 90 degrees, diagonals are equal and cut each other in half. But here's the most important thing to remember. These aren't just a random list of rules. They're an interconnected system that defines every single rectangle in the universe. And it all comes back to this one simple, powerful statement. If you can just remember that a rectangle is a parallelogram with one right angle, all of those other properties we just talked about, they all naturally fall right into place. It's like the master key to understanding the whole shape.
So the next time you see a window, a book, or your computer screen, you'll know the precise geometric blueprint that's hiding inside. And that kind of leaves us with a question, right? Now that you've unpacked the rectangle, what other common shapes around you are just waiting for you to discover their secrets?